I'm going to give you the first of a couple of little games. The first one I call Name Association. It's a very creative name, I'm sure you'll agree. And I'm going to give you a descriptor or a sentence or something of that nature where you give me the name who best fits that description. And it's going to be quite a few ones, so if you want to make it quick or if you want to go in more detail, please do. First one is Last Man Standing at the Bar. Any promotion?
Last Man Standing at the Bar. Jake was pretty good. You know who else? Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes was pretty good at closing down bars.
I cannot believe that. Not believe that at all. Next one, biggest bully.
Biggest bully? Vince McMahon. No, Bill Watts. The old Bill Watts. He was a bit more than Vince, but Vince is pretty good at it himself.
Most picked on or bullied?
Ooh,
the person who, wherever they went, they were just the locker room whipping boy.
Ooh. Well, I'm thinking in my head, I remember when Outback Jack came and they did the infamous bunch of ribs to him. It's strange. I can't think of anybody that's just picked on as they move around. Most times that would happen when guys would get, when there's obviously a pecking order in wrestling. I told you, I was reticent to even open my mouth with Savage. And I can't think of anybody right off the top of my head, but occasionally somebody will come in and just act like, hey, they're the top dog, right? And usually the guys that are at the top of the card will take note of that. And, not that it's any kind of line of succession or anything, but, the guys that are at the top of those dressing rooms, whichever dressing room it is, they've earned that spot. And they've earned it by running the roads and throwing their bodies around and things. And so, and again, I can't even think off the top of my head. I do recall one time in ECW, and it was a complete misunderstanding. Rodman, part of the BWO, he came in and was, as I recall, the first time he walked in was meek as a mouse, walked over to his corner and put his stuff down, and almost like he didn't want to be seen. And Perry Saturn took that as being disrespectful, and he jumped up and really started. You walk around and shake everybody's hand and blah 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 blah. And I pulled Perry aside. He and I were good friends, and I said, I don't think that's what that was. I don't think he was being disrespectful to anybody. I think he was scared to death. And again, misunderstanding. And I'm sure Perry probably went and apologized to him afterwards. But I can't think of anybody that's been bullied off the top of my head, at least that I'd seen.
Okay, well, this is one that generally everybody's got a good answer for. The wrestler who should have gone to the laundry more than they should have, more than they did.
Oh boy, Mick Foley. You mean laundry, like the washroom, to wash clothes? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, a very stinky wrestler that you could smell from across the ring.
Yeah. Mick was not the most laborious guy, we'll say. And I remember too, Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. They used to wear these, weightlifting gloves, no fingers in them, and I don't know where they stored those things, but they would get you down a hole and put over your, and boy, it was like smelling up somebody's ass. It was, not very pretty.
Yeah, it does seem to be anyone who wears any leather. So Kane's mask, Mankind, apparently his mask, Balls Mahoney in general. I get all those answers.
Yeah.
Next one is, let me have a look. Best enhancement talent you ever worked with.
Oh my God. Go back to the NWA, the 10th and Techwood studio, the little Saturday night show, and you watch all of the enhancement guys on there. There was Gene Ligon, the Malkeys. Again, horrible names, too many for me to remember, but go back and watch any of those matches with the enhancement guys from the NWA then. About a couple years ago, my manager had some matches and was playing them, and I was watching, and I kept going, oh my God, these guys are great. And he thought I was talking about the stars, right? And I pointed out, I said, no, look at the enhancement guys. They're always perfectly positioned. They're always finding the camera. Just real, George South, another, right? I mean, George South was fantastic. All of these guys, it could have been stars in the business. And I asked George that one time because Georgie and I, we've been friends for longer than I can remember. I said that because he's just fun and entertaining to watch in the ring and knows what the hell he's doing. And I said, why didn't you ever go on the road? And he said, well, I had family and I didn't want to go on the road. So he said he always said, I bought 4 houses and, so he made his living and he had his fun in the wrestling business and got out of it what he wanted out of it. But those guys back then, I don't watch too much today, but the guys back then, the enhancement talents were amazing. Perfect.
What about the guys who you specifically work with? Because especially in the WWF in the early and mid 90s, you will have had to have had your share of gobbling people up on Superstars or Wrestling Challenge. Who did you look forward to working with there?
Barry Horowitz was always a good one. Same thing, always knew where he was in the ring. And that really is about 50% of being a good wrestler, is knowing where you are in the ring and finding that camera. What most people call ring generalship. Barry was exemplary at it. Another who I wouldn't say was necessarily an enhancement talent, but Buddy Rose. Boy, he was an amazing in-ring talent and really could teach. A very almost childlike personality. Very quiet, meek, but he would, you get in that ring, he knew his way around the ring, and he knew how to teach you what it was you needed to learn in the ring.
Heaviest cigarette smoker?
Oh, Lordy, let me think here. Slater used to be a pretty heavy smoker. Harley was a pretty heavy smoker. More in my generation, I don't recall too many. Sandman obviously was a heavy smoker, right? But there wasn't. It seemed like that Wayne, that was like a bigger thing back in the day with the guys that came before me. But some of those guys, and honestly, I don't know how they did it because, being in the ring, even when you're in shape, it's Harley would go out and do a 60-minute match every night, right? And being a smoker like that, I'm thinking like, my God, that's the stuff that impresses me is the stuff that like I can compare against. Like, I'm not a smoker. I know how tough it is to get through an hour match, or like something like Bam Bam Bigelow or Vader floating around like flyweights, right? As big as they were. That's the kind of stuff that always put me in awe.
I will give you a couple more then. The worst storyline ever.
The worst storyline ever. I'm sure the Dean Douglas storylines rank up there pretty highly. I thought the gobbledygooker thing was just completely out of bounds, over the top, unnecessary. I loved Hector, but I find it demeaning to put somebody out there in that kind of respect. I think when you look back at a lot, like when I was a kid growing up at the old school storylines, a lot of those were, by today's standards, very tasteless, playing off of, cultures and, ethnicities and things. Just stuff that, thank God, is part of our past. But I think today, as we get into it, again, I don't watch much today. I see more and more storylines that are sort of inane and pointless. It's just like sort of, throwing crap against the wall to see if it sticks.
Were you, I suppose you weren't really watching wrestling when Bruno Sammartino was teaming with the Batman?
Oh, I sure was watching. Yeah. In fact, I do. What is Batman's name? He just passed away.
Yeah, he's Tony something, wasn't he?
Tony, again, I'm so bad with names. His son still, well, it's been a couple years now, but he'll occasionally call me. His son started calling me, 20, 25 years ago, because he'd heard it in an interview. They used to have Batman on the studio wrestling, and that was when the Batman show was on TV, and I just sort of got grabbed by both. But it's funny you say it about Bruno, because Bruno, when we were doing the ECW, I had met Bruno multiple times, known a huge amount of respect for him, mountain of respect for him, and Dominic and I were with him, and somehow ECW came up, and he said, "Yeah, I've watched it." He said, I don't like it. It's not my, why do you do this and why do you do that? And I tried to explain to him. I said, well, wrestling had gone to this cartoon place, and we couldn't just pull it back to where you guys were. We had to take it past that And I'm trying to explain it to him, and he just kept burying it. And finally, I said, Bruno, you had a guy with a green tongue that ate turnbuckles, right? I love George. Don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking like, okay, it's all the same thing, right? We're all still doing the same stuff. I understand like his point of view coming from the generation he came from, but it really is pretty much the same thing.